continue to have a peek at what Windows 8 might look like running in a VM on Apple Lion. Anybody that's used Paralells for running anything such as Windows would know how well it works. It completely has a different dimension now in Lion, and it has another dimension with Windows 8 because of the use of tiles. Funny enough, it'll be interesting to see how Microsoft addresses the tiles in Windows, but funny enough, some of the features that are in Lion actually make it more conducive for Windows 8 to work than it might even on Microsoft itself. I'll show you a bit more what I mean. So here on this screen here, obviously you've got the Windows 8 potential look of tiles. You can do things such as resizing tiles. You can get rid of tiles. Obviously you can bring up programs. You can launch your programs such as control panel within Windows. You can even change the look potentially of the palette of tiles. The whole look and feel, you can kind of pretty much change things on the fly, changing the colors and all that sort of thing. But one of the things that's obvious to me is that when you're running potentially Windows 8, that the tile screens can get a bit crowded and the rest of it. If you look at the way Launchpad has handled things in Lion, it works quite well, but obviously Lion isn't Microsoft. So here you've got your basic scenario with all your tiles, but the interesting aspect with Lion is you can go into the mission control panel, bring up an Apple screen, and of course now you're into your regular Apple scenario side of things. And then of course if you want to, you can work from this environment and not even really pay attention to Windows is running in the background. Go back to mission control, pull up your Windows desktop, and you're running a completely different OS. The ability of doing that in all the OSs is actually quite good, so that it's a nice way of managing that and working with all that environment. One of the possibilities that Windows 8 will bring will be the ability to change, add different tiles on the fly sort of basis. This one being, say, dig. We can pull up some of the top stories. So it's going to be very interesting to see how all that bit of it works. But again, I think the biggest challenge that Microsoft will have is how it manages multiple screens. Obviously, my own setup, I've got multiple monitors, but not everybody will. But the idea of being able to have the equivalent of multiple monitors on one monitor seems a little silly from one respect, but you see how Lion's done it, again with mission control, where you can flip from one back to the other, have multiple desktops, and then even setting up another desktop if you want one. So I think that's going to be quite an interesting way of how Microsoft might deal with it, and chances are, because they're borrowing aspects from Android, I think it's quite a good, useful way of doing it. With Launchpad for Apple, obviously you can see how they've managed icons in a scenario, and then if you have multiple pages, it's managed that way. Perhaps that will be one aspect of how they do it, and then you can have perhaps tiles of Microsoft on one, and then Apple on the other. But I could see a way of having it this way. Unfortunately, Apple won't allow it the other way too easily, of being able to run an Apple OS and Microsoft, but I can see the advantage of that for both companies as well. So anyhow, that's a quick glimpse of how Windows 8 might look on running in Lion, and obviously that making use of the mission control panel is a cracking way of doing it. Resource-wise, it doesn't seem to slow the system down. I'm running this particular one on a new iMac quad-core, but the ability of leaving Windows running in the background and being able to flip back and forth, share files between the two is quite a clean, nice way of doing it. So this is partly down to the update of Paralells 6 and the way Lion works with those VM environments as well. So that's it for now. I hope that was of some use to you. Bye for now.